So we ran into a little bit of an issue. We were trying to replace this rear tire carrier, but unfortunately, because this is the full-length tire carrier, it actually does not clear those brackets. What's up, guys? On this week's episode, I am installing a Garvin roof rack on our 2003 TJ 4-cylinder 2.4 liter Wrangler. We have been so excited to install one of these so that we could get off-road and we can go camping with our rooftop tent to mount on top. So follow along today to see exactly how I install this thing for the first time on this Wrangler and see all of the little details and all the intricacies involved with installing it. Now, if you're new to our channel, we have 4 Wranglers. We have that LJ back there, which we have yet to introduce on the channel, as well as this 2003. We have a Rubicon as well as a JKU. Now, the cool thing about installing these products is I'm gonna just use some simple hand tools. Everything you see in this video you will be able to find in the description below. We went with the Garvin Adventure Rack. That is the one without the basket on the top. And we are gonna be just using a drill as well as some drill bits, and we're also going to be using a T40 bit to remove the bolts off the windshield, and that should be it. Hopefully this takes just a couple of hours to kind of assemble, so why don't we go ahead and unbox it. Now, just as a bit of a heads up, you are going to have to drill into the body of your Jeep Wrangler, and if that's not something you're comfortable with, then this project is not for you. Now, for us, we don't really care that we have to drill into the body. We got all the tools necessary to get it done, so we're going to do it. Now, when buying a cargo rack for a Wrangler, there's so many different choices, but the one we chose is this Garvin rack because it is the highest quality of which, and it allows you to also remove your soft top and put your soft top back on even with the cargo rack attached. I'll show you what I mean once we have it all installed. Now, that it comes in 2 separate packages, just like you see, and using a box cutter, I'm gonna go ahead and open them again. Look at that. Those are so crazy big. I can't believe how big these are. This is crazy. These are the cross members that go across the top. Now, this cargo rack has a 300-pound capacity. Hopefully that's the dynamic capacity, because static will be a little more than that, but we'll let you know how it holds up. Alright, let's get to the meat of it. I am so impressed by how thick. I mean, I've seen some people drive with these on the road, but it does not compare at all to the cheaper stuff that you'd find on Amazon. I mean, wow. Holy moly, look at the packaging. Basically, if anything is scratched up after you uninstall and open this box, that is totally on you because it's not on Garvin. I mean, look at how nicely that is packaged. So much attention to detail. Now, while I continue to unbox, I'm actually just going to spray some of these Torx screws over here with some PV Blaster. Now, this will help loosen up all of that corrosion so that when we go to remove those bolts, we are not battling against ourselves. Now, I'm not exactly sure which ones we're going to use, but I'm going to just go ahead and put some of this on all of them. Wow. This is my favorite part of every install, is seeing all of the parts that come with every single kit. I mean, I'm running out of table real estate here, guys. This is a big one. All of the hardware that is required for this kit, as well as the instructions. I'm gonna snap and have all of the protective coating removed. Let's do it. Now that we have everything unboxed, it is time to start with the installation. Now, I don't know about you guys, but not many products that you can get come with such clear bags of hardware. I mean, every single bag not only has the name of exactly what step it's for, but what page of instructions will ask you to use the hardware. Now, that is something that takes a lot of time on the manufacturer's end, but also saves a lot of time for the consumer. So my first initial impression is that everything is so well made and so well thought out. I'm so excited to get this thing on. Now, one other thing I want to admit, I accidentally dropped one of the pieces of hardware and nothing happened to it. Did not scrape, the powder coating did not come off. It looks perfect, just as if I didn't drop it at all, which is something that's really reassuring because I know that this will hold up against time. So why don't we go ahead and follow these instructions together and get going. So the very first step in installing this product is you actually have to do a modification if you have full or half doors. If you have tube doors, you don't have to do this. But basically, once you install the upper hinge support on this windshield frame, you're not going to be able to open the door unless you do this modification. So what we're going to do is remove these two nuts, which we usually don't even keep on the Jeep at all, but because this one's new to us, we still haven't removed the doors yet. You're going to remove the door and you're going to trim 3/4 off the top of that hinge. Just the top one. And then when you're all done, you can go ahead and reinstall it after you file it down. So right now we're going to remove those nuts using a 13mm socket. Now the fun part, let's take the... This is the first time this door's probably been off in such a long time, so it might take a little bit of the BFB, brute force method. BFM. You're going to want to measure 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of that top pin and go ahead and give it a mark. So it's going to be just like that. Here at Garage Couple, we take simple hand tools very seriously. As you can see, I could have used the grinder, but I took that off by hand. Look at that. That is some serious piece of steel or metal or whatever that is. That does not want to come off. So off to the second side we go. Just be sure to file it down using a metal file. And then go ahead and put it back in its place. Now that we're done with step one, I just want to show you, for all of those that wonder if this makes any difference in how the door feels or moves, no. It feels totally the same, it's just going to have one less nut on the bottom. In fact, we're not even going to replace it, we'll just keep it as is. Off to step number two, removing the rear license plate. So last week we removed that license plate bracket, so we don't have to do it this week. We actually relocated it to the center of our tire. Next, it wants us to drill 6 holes onto the body of the Jeep. These are all 3/8 inch diameter, and they're very specifically outlined in the figures below, as you can see. So we're gonna measure 3 times and only cut once. So why don't we go ahead and start measuring? Let's remove the bottom part of the soft top. Alrighty guys, we are on to day number 2. The previous day it was actually Easter Sunday and we had some plans, and we really wanted to spend some more time doing this job without having to compromise any issues with the Jeep in terms of drilling. Don't forget, you always want to measure twice and cut one time. So today I'm with my friend Rocky. We actually both just got off a 24-hour shift and we're gonna go ahead and install this together. So why don't we go ahead and get to it? It always helps to have a buddy. Here's Rocky, guys.
How's it going?
He's an off-road enthusiast as well, and my co-doctor at our hospital. So this is, let's see if 2 doctors can figure this out. All right, let's do it. So nice having help. We took off the tire carrier in one piece, and now we're gonna remove this tail light so that we're able to measure the exact measurements and only cut one time. Let's do it. We got Rocky taping it up. As you can see, we removed this taillight only because you're supposed to measure from this seam all the way out. And the only way to really do that is to remove this taillight. We want to make sure we get accurate measurements. So there we are, masking it up. Next thing we're going to do is start measuring. Let's do it. So here are the instructions. As you can see, we're going to do this to both sides. It needs to be 7 1/4 inch out from the tailgate lip and 7/8 down. And then the holes need to be 1 1/8 inch apart. This is for the upper mount.
Now the lower mount is 7 7/8 from the seam, not from the actual tailgate, but from the metal pinch seam. And then you're gonna go 2 inches from the bottom, just like so. They're both gonna be 3/8 diameter. We're gonna start with 1/8, and we're gonna use a hole punch, which I purchased on Amazon, and the link for that will be in the description below. So this is what the measurements look like. That's the upper mount, and that's the lower mount. X marks the spot. Now we're gonna work on the right side, which is gonna be just a little bit more difficult because of this hinge, but let's do it. And this is how the right side looks. So just go ahead and draw 2 points here, and then just use a straight edge and draw it straight up. Time to cut. We've measured like 20 times, isn't that right?
Many times.
Many times. Let's get it done, guys. All right, here's that punch tool. You're gonna go ahead and put this right down where X makes the mark there, and just push. And it goes and starts the pilot hole for you. We're gonna do this to all 3 locations. Now we're gonna use a 1/8, and let's get it done. Let's time for the 3/8. Oh, I see. Now you're gonna want to put some kind of paint or nail polish on those so that it doesn't rust out. We don't actually live in the Rust Belt, so it's not a big deal. But, you know, just for good measure, we'll give it a couple sprays with some rubber sealant. Now it's also always good practice to deburr your holes. So let's do that and then put the coat of paint on it. Here's what I like to use, a metal file. This is just to remove all the burrs. And then go ahead and grab whatever paint you have. I have this Flex Seal. Give it a little bit of love. Yeah. All right, guys, we are making progress. The next step we're gonna do the lower mount right over here. So grab this part, grab the bag of hardware that is actually labeled page 5, which is super nice. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first mount down there. So why don't you follow along? For this step, you're gonna need some kind of prying device. You're gonna need to lightly unbolt the left-sided body mounts and then fully remove this body mount so that you could actually lift it. Why don't we show you? So this is what I have for a pry bar. We're gonna just lift. You wanna line that up. All right, now let's see if that bolt on the bottom fits. I just wanna say never in our lives has it ever lined up that nicely. I mean, look at that. That is nutso, we did it. Let's just keep going. So next we're gonna go ahead and put in our carriage bolt through the front, and then through the rear, we're gonna go ahead and use a regular metal washer and a nylon lock nut to hold it into place. Here's the bracket. So this is the bracket that goes on the rear that's gonna support it. So there's gonna be a piece of rubber trim there. Hand thread that on, and then there's gonna be one more screw on the bottom, just like so. It's actually not gonna be a carriage bolt. This one's a regular bolt, and it's gonna take a flat washer and a flat washer on the other end with a nylon bolt. Now on to the upper mount. You'll notice that several of these washers are nylon. So the way it works is you're gonna put these carriage bolts through. You're gonna go ahead and put a nylon on the back of this, just like so. Next, you're gonna slide this into the spots that you just drilled. Just go ahead and place these. Just look at that fitment, absolutely incredible here. Next, what you're gonna do is grab the regular metal washers, put them on the rear of this, and then grab your nylon lock nuts and go ahead and tighten everything down. Be sure to keep this hand tight for now, and then you'll eventually fully tighten it in a moment. As Rocky does that, I'm gonna go ahead and do the top on this side, just like this driver's side over there. We are on to page 6. We are gonna install the support brackets now. Let's go ahead and open these bolts and see what we're working with. All right, we're gonna go ahead and mount this side first. Grab this piece here, has the ladder mount if you choose to buy it. We're gonna go ahead and just hand thread this, and it says leave very loose. So let's do it. It's gonna be flat washer, lock washer, all metal. And then go ahead and hand tighten this nut on there. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the upper mount. Off to the other side. So now that we've gotten both sides, I mean, just look at that. If I have to say something just really quickly, this kit is made so well. We are so happy we went with the Garvin product. Now you're gonna attach the cross member that connects the two of those. And you just wanna keep in mind when you do this part, you grab the right one. This is the 32-inch long one. I think the other crossbar is for the front. It is a different length, so make sure you grab the right one. Why don't we go ahead and install it with the bolts it came with. It also recommends putting black silicone around, so if you don't have some of that, go ahead and grab some now. So now that we've put those pieces on, we're gonna go ahead and tighten all the bolts once we're happy with how level it is. I think it actually looks pretty good, so why don't we do that now?
A good old shape test.
So it's really nice that this actually has a license plate relocator. We're gonna wait until the end of the video to install that, just to make sure it doesn't interact with that bumper. So let's move on to the next step. We're getting close. So we are on step number 13 out of 16. The next big task is to remove these. I believe these two screws are T40, but let's double check. So the two you're gonna wanna remove are these ones right over here. Let's get started. This is a T40. Make sure it's seated really well. These are notorious for stripping. We are in business. This is an easy one because it's not painted. I don't actually think we're going to reuse these because I do think it comes with replacements. Let's go ahead and remove this fully. We're going to do the same for this one. Make sure you seat it really well.
I wasn't sure if the metal like torqued and broke right there.
All right.
The driver.
Okay, we're in business. So we're just putting on that nylon nut anytime the powder coated surface makes contact with the vehicle. Then we're gonna go ahead. Let's move this antenna. And we're just gonna hand tighten this on. Perfect. Let's go do the other side.
Tired awake.
Yeah. All right. Is yours ready?
I think I'm threaded.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, man.
The same strategy will go all the way on your side. Okay. Now that that's in, let's move on to the next step. So these are the full length cross members. You're gonna grab the one with the extra brackets. This is for the ladder that you could purchase separately. So basically these are just gonna go back like so. And bolt into place, just like so. So why don't we do that now? What do you guys think? It looks pretty wicked. So the actual carriage bolt is gonna go down. Let's do the other side. So these are actually designed to be removed, and the whole rack can actually pivot backwards so that you could take your top on and off. I think that is one of the pros of this system. Let's install that cross member. So we ran into a little bit of an issue. We were trying to replace this rear tire carrier, but unfortunately, because this is the full-length tire carrier, it actually does not clear those brackets. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna grind down the ends of this hook road tire carrier. Also, just pro tip, install this first and then buy the tire carrier based on this cargo rack. Like if you're certain you're gonna get this cargo rack, make sure to get the tire carrier afterwards. Now we still love this tire carrier. We're gonna make it work and I'm gonna show you exactly how. So let's do it. Well, there you have it. We cut that piece out. Now we're gonna do the same thing to the other side.
Well, there you have it, guys. There is the Garvin Adventure Rack install on a Jeep Wrangler TJ, the 2003 model. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helps you install the product yourself if you had the opportunity to go ahead and get one. Now, maybe down the line we'll go ahead and add that ladder attachment. We definitely think that would be a cool addition, but let's just see where it goes, you know? All of the links to all of the products in this video will be in the description below, so please check that out. Check out Garvin's website and see if there's any products that you might like for your Jeep. I mean, I am so thoroughly impressed. This is probably one of the nicest parts we have ever installed. The fit and finish and the instructions were next level. So thank you so much for watching and we'll see you next week.